Hi, good morning, boys and girls. So today we're going to do a lesson on character traits. Um, we know that when we're reading our novels and chapter books, we come across characters that are complicated. And to understand a character better and more complete, we need to look at their character traits. And they come in two forms. They have the internal and external ways to look at a character. Do you remember what internal and external means? Try to think back, because we have done this same lesson on Rob from the Rising Tiger, and we made our character traits chart. So we had one side that said external and one side that said internal. So if you're thinking external means outside, like the physical, that would be correct. So those are traits that describe a character, that how they look like. So let me show you a chart. Okay, it's going to come up. So start thinking about character traits that are external, physical. All right, so if you're thinking about how they look with maybe their hair color, maybe it's brown, or their eye color, or what they're wearing, then you're correct. So now if we take a look on the other side, the inside, the internal traits, those are traits that would characterize what the characters are thinking, feeling, what they say, that dialogue. It shows their inside traits. Okay, so some inside traits, if we take a look at a chart that I gave you earlier in the year, these are organized, categorized in columns. So if you were just to say, my character's nice, you find a precise word that would describe how nice they are. They might be caring, they might be friendly, lovable, peaceful. Say they are negative, right? They might be untrustworthy or unfair, right? If they're sad, if you take a look at that column, they might be down or they might be lonely. All right, so let's take a look at our character trait chart for Rob. All right, so on the outside, or the external side for Rob, we knew that he's a boy, brown, short hair, brown eyes. He wore old clothes. We know that his mother had died. He lives with his dad, and he has that rash on his legs. If we took a look at the internal features or the traits on the inside, we knew that he was sad, depressed, angry. He didn't like school. He didn't cry. He held all of his emotions inside that imaginary suitcase. He wouldn't let them go. He didn't want to think about those feelings. And we knew he had a bond, that special bond with the tiger. He saw that tiger as good luck. So that all those would be internal. All right, so I'm going to show you, or we're going to watch a BrainPOP video on character. And I want you to pay attention to what Annie and Moby look at for how characters act. I will be pausing and discussing along the way, but they're going to talk about the actions and the character traits of the grasshopper and ants. So let's take a look.
Oh, Grandma, what big eyes you have. Moby, come on, get into it. Oh, Grandma, what big ears you have. Moby, the wolf is the most exciting character in Little Red Riding Hood, and you're not even trying. What is a character? Well, what is a character? One of my favorite tales is Goldilocks and the Three Bears. There are 4 characters in the story. Characters are the people in the story. Right. I guess characters don't have to be people. Just anyone in the story. Most of the stories I read have one really important character. You know, like a main character. In this story, Goldilocks is the main character. She's the star. But that doesn't mean that the bears aren't important. I guess characters work together to show what happens in the story. What are characters like? Nice day for a picnic, huh, Moby? Hey, check out those ants. They're totally stealing our food. No, Moby, you can't squash them. They're just doing their job. Yeah, that grasshopper isn't doing much at all. In fact, he seems pretty lazy.
All right, I'm just going to pause it there for a moment. Try to think about how Annie said that the grasshopper is lazy. Would you consider that an internal or an external character trait? All right, if you said it was internal, then you are correct. The character is showing through his actions how you could better understand the character through actions, which what is he doing? He's just laying around, not working, right? And compared to the ants who are working. So that's internal.
But the ants are working really hard. I guess these characters are pretty different. Some stories have characters that are brave or scary or greedy, and some characters set their mind to things and really work hard. Well,
I'm going to pause it one more time. All those character traits that Annie just went over, let me go back a second.
Have characters that are brave or scary or greedy, and some characters set their mind to things and really work hard.
Okay, so would those character traits be internal or external? So you might have brave, and then greedy, and then working hard as character traits that are internal. They're not something you could physically see, right? That's what the characters do and feel, and they might use dialogue to show that they're brave or show they're greedy, right? The scary could go both ways. A character could look scary physically, or they could say things that are scary. That could be both internal and external. Now let's keep going.
Well, in this story, the ants work hard, getting food for the winter, while the grasshopper just sits around and eats. Kind of like you, Moby. But then the winter comes and the grasshopper is cold and hungry, and he learns his lesson. I like this story because the main character learns something. How can characters change in a story? In The Ugly Duckling, the main character goes from being sort of a weird-looking bird into a beautiful swan. I guess a character in a story can change just like people in real life. I think they go through bigger changes than that, Moby. In this story, the ugly duckling isn't the only one who goes through a change. The other ducklings realize that they shouldn't make fun of other birds, so they change too. It can be hard to understand everything that happens to characters. What can you do to understand characters better? Sometimes when I read, I don't really get a character if they're so different from me. It helps if I can compare them to people I do understand. Well, Pinocchio's really different from me because he's a boy, and he's a puppet made of wood. But Pinocchio is like you, Moby, because you both get in trouble. Like last week when you broke a window and lied about it. I guess Pinocchio and Moby learned the same lesson. You shouldn't lie, Moby. Yes, you did. Cut it out. Anyway, I guess there's tons of different ideas to remember. How can you organize...
I'm going to pause it here. She's going to go over how can you organize ideas about characters. And we know how to do this. We just looked at 2 charts, right? They're going to not put a chart on the board. They're going to put it all together, but we know to organize internal and external, you want to make that T chart.
His ideas about characters. Maybe I can chart their character traits. I can describe what the characters look like and what they do and feel and how other people feel about them. Let's see. The wolf's traits. Well, he definitely has big ears and teeth, and he eats people.
So the big ears and teeth, those are physical. Those would go on the external side, the outside. And then eating people, what else?
And everyone is scared of him.
All right, so eating people and scared of him, that would go on the internal side, what he says and does, how he makes people feel. That's your internal, your inside character traits.
Oh, and he's sneaky too because he keeps dressing up like grandma. See, Moby, you can use my chart and really get into the wolf's character.
Okay, so the next step I want you to do is scroll down and you're going to write about it. You're going to
write about it.
Click on write about it. You will be filling in your name. Okay, so I'll put Mrs. Young. And then you want to write a paragraph. Usually I want you to do a T-chart for your internal and external character traits, but for this, you're going to write a paragraph because it's easier to do on this platform here. And I'll read what I wrote already. So for myself, so you're going to do your own character traits. So my character traits, I split it up in 2 different paragraphs. So I started with my internal, my inside character traits are that I am shy and patient, and I put why. I didn't just say what they were. I know that I'm shy because when I go to parties, I have a hard time socializing. So getting to know people and opening up, right? I know that I'm patient because when I work with my kids, I take the time to understand them. Then I moved on to the next paragraph, which is my external, my outside, the physical traits. So I am 5 feet 4 inches tall with brown hair, and I wear lots of polka dot clothes. All right, so I am done with my assignment, and I need you to work on your assignment next. And then after that, you're going to move on to the Nearpod activities. All right.
Main character.
Come see me at 1 o'clock if you have any questions.